Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for Captain America Symbol of Truth, Issue 2. And overall, I enjoyed this. However, even though they had Deadpool in this, Deadpool felt kind of off to me. Like, I don't mind Deadpool being in here. Now, granted, I haven't read a lot of Deadpool, so when I say that Deadpool feels off, it's probably more because I've got in my mind more of a kind of like Ryan Reynolds kind of S Deadpool. So that could also be on me. Granted, if you've been reading more into Deadpool, you can kind of like tell me if I'm kind of off on this. But it just felt kind of weird and almost like, all right, I get seeing Sam team up with like different kind of heroes and everything, and Deadpool definitely would have a different kind of style. I think it's more down to the whole kind of situation that the two are involved in. And just me not being that familiar with Deadpool's kind of voice in the comics, if that makes sense, for why I was like, this is kind of weird. Joaquin's part felt more connected to the overall espionage stuff that we're going for, rather than Sam. He's, for some reason, in Latveria. Granted, Deadpool's kind of mission kind of dovetails in that and brings up stuff about like vibranium and everything, but it's almost like, why are we even here kind of thing. Alright, let's get into it. Because we see that White Wolf and Crossbones are kind of like looking at all the stuff that's been going on, like talking about like the train attack, the migrants, and what's kind of going on with that, the Wakanda Forever thing, and what's kind of going on with that. Crossbones, of course, is getting antsy and is like, listen, death by a thousand cuts ain't my usual kind of thing. I usually like to blow stuff up, and you promised I'd be like toppling some countries. White Wolf's like, I get that, but I also said you'd also take down Captain America, and sometimes you gotta like fatten up a sow by like leaving breadcrumbs and stuff. So that's where we see that Sam busts in, and like we see Deadpool hanging upside down, being like, yeah, you and everybody else have some questions and stuff. So we shift over and we see like 2 days earlier where Sam is like talking with the senator, and he's like, it's getting harder to keep these messes out of like the news. It's like, that's not his job for Sam. And I'm like, yeah, he's got a point there. Like, people need to know about stuff, what's going on with that, especially when Sam's like saying that like the super soldier serum is kind of like a piecemeal operation, and he brings up like the supply chain issue never really affects the bad guys, doesn't really seem like it. And the senator's talking about the colleagues wanting to close the border and everything, and that Sam's being like, hey, that could be what they want. And I'm like, okay, expand upon that. We kind of get some stuff that the migrants were probably experimented on, as we see when we get to like Joaquin's kind of stuff. So we'll see how that kind of like works out. Either they're some kind of being engineered to be some kind of ticking time bomb, or to be hosts that have certain things with the super soldier serum that they need to like have extracted or whatnot. I.e., they don't have the shit in barrels, they have the shit in people, and they need to take that shit out of the people. And then we just see like Sam and Deadpool kind of like beating the crap out of people. Of course, Deadpool's talking about how he's got a knife in his colon, and this is kind of like fucking up here. And the jabronis are being fucking assholes. And then he's like, I had it all under control. And then, of course, X-Fil's on the rooftop, so they have to go up these stairs with all these bad guys. And I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And he's like, you said you got some questions for me? Shoot, I can talk and chew gum at the same time. It's like, alright, that kind of definitely had a good Deadpool kind of line. So we then get to the undisclosed place facility, and they've got like state-of-the-art care. They're assigning caseworkers to the people for the trauma of their journey, telling Joaquin that he doesn't need to worry, that Mansfeld is a dude of his word, man of his word. And then like what happens afterward, they're looking at one of the migrants and that there's a blood anomaly detected. That's what kind of brings me up, like there's something going on there. And then Sam pretty much brings Deadpool up to speed about the whole train, and Deadpool's like, listen, super soldier serum thing, that takes a lot. Why don't we come up with something that's kind of like triple S or something? Sam's like, fine, triple S. And they're like, there wasn't any triple S component, only people trying to get safe. And then Deadpool's like, what's in Latveria other than the usual kind of stuff? And then Sam's like, I was hoping these guys would tell me. I'm like, but why would these guys tell you? How are they connected to this kind of stuff? Why would you go and intentionally like poke around with Doom's shit. I mean, if you have a good reason, yes, but I'm less like, can you get into that more? And that Deadpool's trying to do an interrogation himself when Sam kind of interrupted, and they find this kind of like mech thing as Sam kind of like protects them from it as they kind of fall back and have to fucking fight shit. Let's see here. Joaquin, we then shift over to Joaquin trying to pretty much tell Luisa that everything's okay. You see that she's safe. She wants to see the people, haven't seen them in a week. Isolation protocol. And they said that they've been keeping sedated just like in the lab. And Joaquin's like, what? That's where I met the others. The soldiers kidnapped us and held us in a lab. That's like, okay, then what did they do to you? See, it's really kind of weird because Joaquin's getting the more kind of interesting stuff where Sam's getting all the action stuff, and they needed a little bit more to kind of like explain that stuff. Sam's pretty much giving intel update to Deadpool. Deadpool's like, yeah, I kind of had this bounty, some head of some white supremacist outfit, not really a people smuggler or people person in general, but has a soft spot for advanced tech, probably tired of getting their websites hacked, biotech, and that's when Deadpool kind of links it up with the vibranium. It's like, okay. I don't know how that's kind of like connecting us with this at this point. I'm like, I get it. Super soldier serum, vibranium, stuff like that could be worked together, but at this point we only have so many clues, and I wish there's at least a little bit more kind of connective tissue of what's going on with Sam and Deadpool's stuff. And then Joaquin's pretty much like, they's talking to Luisa that some senora helped them find the train and escape. And, of course, Joaquin wants to talk to the prisoner. And Joaquin's like, she's like trying to tell him that he doesn't really have the clearance. But like, we're in a black box site. Why would I not have the clearance? And then he's pretty much talking about like who paid him, and we just get a target and half our payment in the bank account. We're really just point and shoot guys. And he's trying to figure out what was on the train, but then like emergency things start popping up, and it's about Luisa, like a unidentified substance in Wing H, like was detected, and they're requesting assistance immediately. So Joaquin tries to go after Luisa, and two of the guards shoot the dude that was in the cell, saying that they got him. Then they tell Joaquin finds Luisa. They tell her to kind of like tell him to surrender her. He's like, screw that noise. Makes a big old boom, which that's a pretty big boom. I mean, granted, he could kind of shield her, but he is like right on it, and he's got actual wings. So I'm like, that would really hurt both of them. And then he flies him out. And we see White Wolf and Crossbones talking. He's like, I think you got me shooting the wrong kind of guys. And he's, of course, breadcrumbs. Like, the thrill doesn't come from sinking your teeth in the prey's neck. It doesn't come from the chase. It comes from the moment when you know that they're trapped. And they don't realize it yet. As we see Sam and Deadpool kind of flying off. That folks are after vibranium. It doesn't leave Wakanda without the government say so. Well, that's going to be an awkward conversation. And White Wolf's still talking about like how they're realizing there's no such thing as home and stuff. Wilson bringing up how their team up would be like Wilson and Wilson. Sounds kind of like a law firm. I'm like, okay, that's kind of funny. And then, of course, the pilot's like, hey, Cap, we got a problem, as we see pretty much giant helicarriers for Doom. And it's like, shit. And Doom's like, and I love it. Sam's like, cool it, Wade. These aren't the bad guys you're looking for. Speak for yourself. One half of the law firm, Wilson & Wilson. We're not a law firm. And then Doom's like, you entered my country without permission. We got shit to tend to. Now, granted, I really like the art I've really liked so far with this series. It just has a good kind of kinetic kind of feel with the action scenes, and it just works very well. Like, I haven't seen one where a character face looked weird or anybody looked kind of like disproportionate or anything. And this shot of Doom is just really fucking cool. It's like, you broke my laws and you're gonna try and leave? No. It's like, shit. So now they're gonna have to deal with Doom, and that's gonna be a fucking pain in the ass, so it'll be interesting to see how they deal with that. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.